Hi, everybody. We're just waiting for people to join in, so just give me a moment. Cool, we've got 21 people so far. So I hope you guys are having a good day. The sun is shining outside, so I'm glad that you're in front of a computer screen for the next 55 minutes, but I hope you'll find this really informative for you guys. First thing, while we're just getting other people to come in, is I'd like you to, if I just share my screen. Just a moment. Just share that. So I hope you can see that, but I'd like you to put in the chat, what one thing made you want to do this course? So what one thing sort of motivated you? What spoke to you? Or what is it in your experience, in your career up to date has brought you to this point of deciding, I want to do this course, or I'm interested at least? Hi to those of you who've just joined us. We're just warming ourselves up with one question. If you could put that into the chat, what one thing made you want to join this course? Right, I can see them all coming. Tui says, to see how others in Southern DHB are learning about and developing their QI skills. That's great. Megan, an opportunity to challenge the mind. Lovely. Some self-development. Sam, always keen to learn and get a chance to improve. Another person, I wanted more knowledge for reviewing adverse events for my service. So directly relevant to you. That's great. Lisa, always keen to make things better around here. That's great. I think, I think there are so many people in Southern DHB who want to make things better. The toolkit to inform quality improvement, opportunity available to upskill from Josie. Regan, leadership and development and more contribution to our organization. Rhonda, I've heard great things about this course and wanted to experience it for myself. The FOMO, yes, yeah. Well, lots of people have gone through this course and have actually given us great feedback, so I do hope you enjoy it. Emma, to improve workflow. Again, seeing a problem and really wanting to try and fix it, that's great. Joe, like looking at making positive improvements to things for a better outcome for our clients and staff. Michelle, always good to learn new skills and contribute more. Colleen, wanted to see what the course covered and complete it to promote my workspace. Josh is interested in new skills and personal development. A lot of people are really interested in personal development, and that's great. Putting some time into yourself is really important. Sarah, we can always improve. I want the tools to help me push forward the changes to do this. Wendy, to be more effective in my role. Derek, as part of my role, I'm involved in quality improvement projects, which I feel are more knowledge and skills, especially to engage with others. Oh, there's so many. Karen, chance to improve my skills to facilitate better service development in the community. That's great. Just admitting a couple more people. I'm glad to see so many of you. We got 30 3 people now on the call. That's great. And just for those who've just joined, you haven't missed much. We're just sharing in the chat what one thing made us want to do this course. Yeah, those who just come in can pop that in the chat, but I'm going to just stop this sharing for now. And basically, yeah, that's about you. So I thought I'd also contribute here and tell you about me. So my name's James. I'm a colorectal surgeon. I believe that quality improvement is the single biggest thing that we can do as healthcare professionals for the thousands of patients that we are responsible for. Let me tell you a story of how I come to believe this. So about 12 years ago, I was a training surgeon in London. I was working for a vascular surgeon at the time. And one of the patients that I was looking after nearly died. And I've not been the same ever since. So this was an old lady. She came in with an acutely ischemic leg and needed to go to surgery that night. And she had the clot removed from her leg. And afterwards, she went on to heparin, which is a drug to thin the blood. And it slowly drips into the veins. Overnight, none of the staff, the junior doctors or the nurses, managed to accurately sort of like measure the level of clotting, known as the APTT. And the next morning when I came on shift, I found this lady to have a low blood pressure. Her heart rate was high. She was drowsy. She wasn't making any sense. Her urine output was low. She was basically in shock. And then she had a CT. It showed that she was bleeding into the back of her abdomen, the retroperitoneum, quite a lot. She needed a lot of transfusion and resuscitation. She needed to go to the interventional radiology suite and ended up in ICU for a few days. So at that point, I had a choice. My choice was to either just put this down to a mistake, maybe some busy people on the ward the night before, not being able to do the necessary blood tests, and it was just a slip up. Or I could actually go around and speak to those people who were involved last night and just find out what was going on, and just as an investigation, not to blame people. And by going in with that sort of attitude in mind, that sort of inquiry, I realized that there were several factors that contributed to this problem. And probably the most alarming thing that I noticed was that this problem was going to happen again. Sorry, just admitting a few more people. This problem was going to happen again. It was not simply a case of having to tell the individuals that night, oh, this is what you need to do, and things would be better in the future, because there would be different people on the next night and a different patient, etc. It would happen again. I didn't know what to do with it at the time. A few months later, I got an email in my inbox. It was an advert for joining a new course run by the Open University, which is a distance learning course. And it really spoke to the Scot in me, because there was one really key line that said, this is a free course, because it's the first year they're trying to work out how it works. So I thought, that's definitely for me. I actually didn't know what the course was about much at all. Something to do with quality improvement. That was when the lights went on for me. That was when I realized that if you want to change things and make things better, not just for the patients in front of you, but all the ones who are waiting to see you, the ones in the future, you need to be able to do something that's going to be a lasting change, not just educating people or something like that. We spend a lot of time investing in our own skills as healthcare professionals, or as administrators, or whoever you are working in healthcare. You've done a lot of training to get to this point, to improve your clinical skills, your knowledge on how to do this, how to do that. But a large part of our job is actually working and making the systems around us work. That is the same for doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, administrative staff. But do we ever get any training on how to actually make that system efficient? And I would say that most people don't really have the opportunity or are told that this is a really important part of their learning. But like anything else, leadership and management is a skill, and it needs to be taught and it needs to be learned. So that's why I've come to believe that actually investing in quality improvement is probably the most important thing we can do as healthcare professionals, because it's something that's going to make a lasting effect on the patients that we really want to care for. So that's my story, and thanks for sharing all your motivations as well on the chat. I just want to now talk a little bit about owning your own learning. So so much of our time, as I said, is devoted to upskilling ourselves for our jobs, you know, and it's time that you are giving to other people in your work. You know, you come to work and you do all this service for our patients, for other people. You go home, you do all this extra work for your household, your family. But at the end of the day, the most important person is you. You know, you need to invest in yourself at some point. And quite often, I find myself the same. I find myself deprioritizing myself and deprioritizing what I want out of life in order to get through the list in front of me, which is usually to do stuff for other people. But it really is important to invest in yourself, and everybody here has already made that first step by coming on this course. But that's the first step. This course is a journey, and I want you all to get to the end of the journey. And there's going to be things that you're going to need to do in order to make sure you make it to the end. A few tips from me in terms of what you could do. You could block some time out in the diary. So plan your day around you. So don't plan everything that you do for other people and then try and squeeze yourself in somewhere. Start off with yourself, block yourself out for some personal development time. So, I mean, that can be anything from reading books and stuff like that. And this self-development here, this course would also fit in with that sort of ethos. So it's good actually if you've got a diary, a paper diary or an electronic diary, to actually put the time in for learning and then work everything else around that. Another way to ensure that you're going to regularly go on this course is to associate it with something else. So, for example, if you got a particular point of downtime, for me, sometimes it's like if I take my kid to ice hockey, I'm sitting around in the ice rink, kind of watching him a bit, but also getting a bit bored. And that could be downtime that you can fill. This course, you can access it on your mobile phone quite easily. The other things that you can associate it with is like commuting or lunch breaks. So you can devote one lunch break every 2 weeks, and that would probably be enough time, or even better, one lunch break per week. And it would be good if you chose one which is a consistent, you know, time in your schedule and make it the same time every time. The most difficult schedules to stick to are the ones that jump all over the place and it's different all the time. So if you can make it the same each time, that makes it better. And another little tip is that actually have a place that you go to for this. So if you can, you know, make it the same place every time, and maybe remove yourself from a place where you're going to get interrupted and distracted. You know, we're all entitled to go on our lunch breaks. Why not go outside and enjoy the sun sometime and look at and just do a bit of this course on your mobile phone while you're having lunch, for example. So that's just some tips from me, and that's just my personal things. I'm sure there's other ways in which you have that could help you yourselves make sure that you do this learning consistently each week or each month at least. So I'd like you now just to put in the chat, one thing, what are you going to do to own your learning? What do you think is going to make you get to the end of this and feel a sense of achievement? So yeah, if you could just pop that in the chat, that would be fantastic. Tui says he's going to block out time in the diary. Emma's scheduling time. Sam, same thing. Looks like everybody's looking to schedule some time, organizing time every week. Yeah, I think every week is really great. And if you do it every week, it would only need to be about half an hour. It really wouldn't. And, once you go over that hour block, it really is a big commitment. And I don't want that to happen. So even just half an hour each week is perfect. Create time out of a tight schedule. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it is about creating time. It's about prioritizing yourself. Set alarms, multiple alarms, Josie. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes the alarms from my phone go off and I don't know quite what they're for, but yeah, because I do it so many times. Make me a priority and give myself protected time from Sarah. That's great. Okay. Thanks for sharing that, everybody. And I think that's important. And it's also good to keep a little journal, if you can, of your learning, and put at the top of the journal, these little steps, what you're going to commit to try and help yourself. For me, the way I do this when I'm doing a sort of a distance learning course is I have like little notes on my phone, and I just put, these little points down, and I write them down, and I usually don't look at them again, but the act of writing it down kind of somehow commits you to it a bit more, and it kind of like gets it into the brain. So yeah, that's also another tip. Okay, so I'm gonna go on to go through the nuts and bolts of the course, show you how to access it and how to get on with the learning, because the technology, unfortunately, is a little barrier that we all need to get over, especially with the distance learning course. And no matter how easy it is, it's always, there's always places that you can trip up. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let me see, share this one here. Just oh, hang on, I haven't shared it yet. Share, there we go. And just gonna, yeah, if we could, anybody's got, could you just mute yourself if we're getting some background in there? Just make sure you're muted, please. Thank you. Okay, I hope you can see the website. And this is the main place for information about how to access the course. It's course details with this colorful picture of people up above, IHI Open School Basic Certificate in Quality and Safety. I hope you can see that. So if you can't see anything below here, that means that you're on probably Internet Explorer 11, which is an obsolete browser that the DHB is soon getting rid of because it doesn't work. And so a lot of people will be getting confused because they don't see any information. They just see this title. So move over to Microsoft Edge, or if you're at home, any sort of modern browser, Chrome-based browser, anything will do it. So on this page here, there's a few important links at the right-hand side. There's the next classroom session, and you click on that and you get some more details about that. There's the education platform, which is where all the online modules are stored, and that's hosted by the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. There's a link to the Zoom classroom, which you're in, and it's the same link every time. So access it from your diaries or access it from here. And then the YouTube recordings will be posted here as well. So you've already enrolled, but if you were referring anybody else into this course or just recommending it to them, point them to this uh, page and they can apply through this link. Setting up your account is probably the trickiest thing out of everything. So you need to go to education.ihi.org. There's the link there, and create an account, or log in if you've already got an account for some reason. So I'm just going to show you that here. You come to a page like this and you click create account. Once you click that, you'll get this page coming up here, which asks for your contact information, and you need to put that in here. This, you'll select Southern DHB. The email is good if you can use your work email, because it helps me match you up with who you are. Country, you need to specify New Zealand, because this then helps you fill in the correct address. It actually checks that you filled in the correct address, and unfortunately, it doesn't accept 201 Great King Street. I've been trying it today. It's really fiddly. So put in 1 Great King Street, or put in your home address, or something that it's going to recognize. And it does need to go all the way down, and it does need to be a real address, unfortunately. Put your username will be the same as the email address, and put in the password you want, and then you have to do this reCAPTCHA thing. And if you get it right, then you'll move across to this tab here called demographic information. If you get it wrong, it will stay on here, and it will usually tell you up above what's wrong. So demographic information is where you select your role. For now, for everybody who's on this call, I think it's going to be whatever you want to put in here, basically. But just a note for those who are residents or interns or students or teachers or professors, you can actually get free lifetime access to this, so long as that is your role, by selecting these. This is your role, and then making sure that you fill in this as a student or resident and putting in your school email address, because this will actually validate you automatically and give you free access to the course for the whole time you're this role. But for all the professional people that are here, the people who are not in any of those groups, the Southern DHB has purchased the access for you, which you get through the access token I will tell you in a minute about. So that's about setting up your account. Then you need to enter your access code. The access code, it was emailed to you. If you didn't get that email, just send me an email and I'll send it to you again. But that then this is where you're going to enter it in. So you log in using that login page I showed you, and this is usually what you see first. Usually the way to go through things is to browse the catalog. That would be the first thing you do. So it will bring you up with this thing, and we'll just let it load. And this is where you enter in the access code here. So you just enter in the access code and you click submit. Of course, that was a wrong code. I just wanted to show you what happens sometimes is, even if you put in the right access code, 1 or 2 people have complained that it still comes up with this error. If that happens, email me, because that's a technical error at the server side and I need to get technical support to help you. Okay. Oh, we're just getting some background noise. Could people mute themselves? That would be fantastic. So the next thing to do is to find the modules. There are a lot of things in here that you can do, but some of it are all in Spanish and things like that. So the best way to find is to click Open School and click Open School Basic Certificate English. I'm just going to try and find whoever's.
Yeah, the doc is tripping it out all the time.
Just see if I can.
So I'm just going to continue.
Sorry, just while I sort out who's not muted.
I can take one of someone else for one. Yeah, maybe not you.
Where are we? Oh, there we go. It's gone now. Great. Oh, sorry. Get back to my. Okay, so then you have found Open School Basic Certificate in English, and there are 13 modules. So now you're down to the 13 modules that you need to complete. And if you've entered in the correct access code, then you will get Enroll button next to these modules. If you haven't got proper access, it will say Add to Cart. And you don't want to add things to cart, because then it's going to ask you for your credit card details. So make sure you have Enroll there. And then you click Enroll for each of the 13 modules. You can do it all in one go. You have to click More Results to see the other 13, or you can just do it one at a time. So if we click enroll, it will come up with your learning center. So now it's come up with the learning center. It's entered into your learning center, and then this is where you launch your modules from, and you actually then do the learning through here. Okay. Once you've completed the module, it will appear up in your completed tabs. Okay. And you can also print certificates from this completed tabs section. One thing to note is that completing a module means that you have answered every question that is in the module, and you've done the little quiz at the end. And if you haven't answered every question, it's going to say that you haven't finished it. It'll say it's 97% complete or something like that. And then you got to go back and find the question that you missed. And it can be a bit difficult to find what you missed. So as you go, the best way is to, as you're going through the learning, just make sure you answer everything as you go along. That's basically accessing and then finding the modules. There is another way to find the modules if you want to, and that is by just going back to this course details, and they're all actually, all the links are listed here. To make these links work, you first actually need to log in. So go to education and log in, and then come back to this table and then click on these things, and it'll take you straight to the module and you can enroll from there. So that's an alternative way to do it. Classroom sessions, as I said, are available here. There is a diary here showing you all the different dates. So you can put them in your diary in advance if you want to. In fact, you can add them to your electronic diary by clicking this button, add to my calendar. So that can help a little bit. But you also get reminders coming out 1 week in advance, just so that if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Below that is the YouTube videos. If you click up, actually up here, you get a list of all the videos that have been done over the past year or so, but the new ones will come up here too. But you can also go straight into YouTube and find it that way too from the link. And then when it comes to finishing the course, once you've done all 13 modules, you can actually print off your basic certificate. There's some information here on how to do that. And if you want to, you can also get recognition from HR by sending the certificate to training, and they will upload that to Employee Connect for you if that's important to you. The troubleshooting section here gives you lots of information about common things that people over the last year have always struggled with. So this is a great place to look for some information, but you can also at any time just contact me. You got my email address, but I'm also listed down here. And if you click on my face, you'll get all my contact information. So yeah, feel free to contact me anytime. So that's it really. The course details really anchors you and helps you out. But as I said, contact me. Does anybody have any questions? You can either put something on the chat or unmute yourself and ask me.
James, can I ask a quick question, please?
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering what your thoughts are on completing the modules ahead of time, because I know they're sort of spread out sort of over monthly.
Yeah.
Do you think it's any advantage or disadvantage to doing them ahead of time?
There's no disadvantage. So because this is a distance learning course, you can do it at your own pace. You can do it faster or slower. This is just a suggested timetable. The classroom sessions are also optional. They just augment your learning. They give you a place where you can meet other people on the course and talk about that particular topic on that particular month. There is nothing additional in those sessions. So everything you need to learn is in the online modules. The classroom sessions are just optional and extra on top of that to improve the learning experience. As you can see, there are some, the month of July, we're not doing any classroom sessions, and also in December as well. And you can do them in any order as well. I just picked this order because it seemed like to fit with the year, but you can do it in any order you want. I would recommend though that the QI 102, 3, 4, they kind of go in order a little bit, but really you could do them in any order. They don't require you to do it in a specific order. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions from anybody else? Oh, Rhonda's off to another meeting. That's no worries, Rhonda. And you can always catch up the second half of this in YouTube if you want. And for all of those who sort of came in a bit later on, oh, there's some more people in the waiting room. Sorry, just admit them. For everybody who's joined halfway through, you can also go into the YouTube and watch the first half. That's fine. Okay, if there's no more questions, then we're going to go on to the last bit of this, which is going to be a bit more fun. And it's like a little bonus teaching from me on some part of quality improvement, organizational development that it's not in this course, but something that I find interesting and fun. So I'm just going to share my screen again. I'll go back to this little thing here. So I'm going to put you all out into breakout rooms, just pairs, so that you can really think about this. So I want you to finish this sentence. The healthcare system in Southern DHB is like a. So it's a metaphor. So you're going to think of a metaphor and explain why you've chosen that metaphor. And you can have fun with this, or you can be serious about it. It's a really great exercise in trying to understand, what is this system that we work in? Okay, so I'm going to pop you all out into breakout rooms. It's just going to be a random assignment. So I'm going to have, how many of those? There's 32. So we need to put out 16 breakout rooms. Yeah, or 15. There might be 3 of you in some of them. Okay. Somebody's come back here on Galaxy S9 Plus. Do you want to unmute and chat? We can do this together. Hi. SF19. Hi.
Hi, my name's Sue. I'm zooming in from Dunstan Hospital in
Hi.
Clyde, and I'm the charge nurse for the district nurse service here.
Oh, hi. Sorry you didn't get a partner. I've been trying to move people around a bit, but some people didn't join some rooms. I don't think there's somebody else here, but they haven't been able to unmute themselves. So maybe you could just chat with me. What do you think Southern DHB is like?
Oh, the healthcare system in Southern DHB. I've only been here for 4 weeks, so I've come down from Auckland, and so
right.
I'm definitely adapting to it's rural, is what I hear a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, maybe you know Auckland a bit better because of your. And what would you describe Auckland DHB like?
The healthcare system. Oh God. And what contents, just as how it's run, what it does?
Well, that's up to you. You know, what is it about the system, and can you compare it to something?
It's a very hierarchical system, and I think that's probably the same throughout any kind of like the national health system back in the UK where I originate from. I think from a nursing perspective, and being in management positions, there's definitely that hierarchical system that we can't seem to move away from, as much as we need we need policies and processes and management, but yeah, it's definitely very hierarchical and very red taped, very difficult to get done.
Yes. Yeah. Okay then. Hi Karen, thanks for popping back here. We're just trying to do this together. Sue's the other person here. Karen, do you have any ideas what Southern DHB system is like? What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working in the DHB for over 20 years now. But I think so. I am quite familiar with the systems, but I think if you're a newcomer, it would be a bit like a jigsaw puzzle.
Jigsaw puzzle.
we don't have systems that connect very well together at times.
Okay, so it's a jigsaw puzzle with the wrong pieces in it.
Well, I think the pieces could be modified to fit better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So get the scissors out.
Yeah.
And the sticky tape. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got somebody else come pop back here. Hannah, were you chatting with somebody else, or did you? Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was a bit of a one-way conversation because their mic wasn't working. So she was messaging me as I was talking to her. So it was a little bit odd. But anyway, that's all right. We were kind of on the same wavelength anyway. So
did you come up with a metaphor?
More just the picture I have in my head is the mouse on the wheel, just constantly, working hard, going nowhere type of thing. So that's about it, really.
The mouse on the wheel. That's a good one. Yeah, never really getting anywhere, just going faster and faster. So I've just closed the breakout rooms. People will be popping back, and we're going to carry on sharing our metaphors. So if I invite you, don't feel obliged to unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat, but don't feel obliged. Michelle, I can see you there. Are you able to share your metaphor with us?
Yeah, so we said like a platform with a Rubik's Cube in the middle. So sometimes it can be a bit muddled, but you can change it to how you want and get everything lined up with the right quality measures in place.
Lovely. So in an ideal world, you could actually solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Thanks for sharing that. Who else we've got? Just picking people at random now, and I don't mind if you don't feel that you want to share. Josie Miller, would you like to share your metaphor with us?
We talked about how it was a revolving door, and I mentioned to me it's like lots of little cubicles or silos where you don't really know what everybody else is doing around you.
Yeah.
But you know what's going on in your department.
Right. So
yeah.
is it like lots of silos, each with a revolving door, and you don't know what's behind them unless you go in and then come back out again? Is that right?
Yeah, that could be one way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
I've worked in 5 different areas of the DHB, and yeah, it's you go in one door and come out, and then you go in another, and it's completely different. And they're doing different things, different ways, and there's a whole different area of medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. Thank you very much. Who else have we got? Jenny Rakaz, are you there? Do you want to share your metaphor with us?
I knew you were going to pick me. Thanks, James. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
So I thought healthcare system in Southern DHB is like, sorry to be negative, but having come from some really big innovative hospitals in the UK, and I've been here for 18 months, I thought it was like a step back in time. Just because of, like I say, worked in some really innovative, fast-paced types of healthcare systems, and it's quite difficult getting change here, I find. It's quite difficult getting quality improvement. I understand teams are stretched. There's always sickness, there's not enough time, and my priorities are not necessarily everybody else's priorities. A lot of the clinicians just want to focus on their patients, and we're short-staffed, and that's totally, utterly understandable. But then we also need to factor in well, where's the quality improvement stuff? We can't just keep doing what we're doing. When are we dedicating time to actually make some positive change?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's an ongoing process, quality improvement is not something that waits till next year. Yeah. It needs to be, all the time.
And it's everybody's priority. It's not just certain people or managers or leaders or, everybody's responsible for this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, we'll take one more. And then if anybody is burning to share theirs, please put it in the chat and I'll invite you in as well. But just picking at random, let's go with James Reed. Just picked you at random because the name is a good name, really. Oh, yeah, you sound like a Dalek, I'm afraid. Can we hear you? Yeah, I'm sorry, James. Your sound is not helpful for us, I'm afraid. I'll maybe go to somebody else. So let's go for Rebecca. Rebecca, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I think someone's already shared the same one that I said. I said that the healthcare system in Southern DHB was like a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, right. Okay.
Especially when I'm trying to help with adverse events and stuff like that for my service, I sort of come across where do I turn, who do I talk to? It's sort of like figuring out a puzzle before you've even dealt with what it was you were trying to deal with in the first place.
Yeah.
Thanks
very much. Yeah. Tui wanted to say something. On you go, Tui.
Well, I quite liked my peer Emma's analogy about something to do with the glacier as well, which probably would resonate with you, Jenny. But yeah, the first thing that came to mind for me was just that it's a bit like an airport with an out-and air traffic controller, really. There's all sorts of planes going wonderful places, but they're all over the show and crash into each other sometimes, and nobody knows what everybody's up to, really.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Thanks very much. Okay, so I'm going to share you a couple of my metaphors, and there are no means a complete list, but organizational metaphors actually do help us understand the system that we work in, and therefore actually how you can influence that system. So can you still see that? I think we're still sharing. So a lot of people think of a system in a large organization like a machine. This machine has got many working parts. It's complicated. And there are parts in it that could be broken and need to be fixed. And the job of an engineer is to find out what exactly is broken, find the right part, put it in, and make it work again. And the machine's got lots of controls on it and buttons and levers. And if you find the right button, if you press the right lever, you'll get the machine to do what you want it to do. People who are operating with this metaphor kind of think, well, there is a controller at the top, or there's a controller in a hierarchy system, and if I could just find the right lever to pull, it's going to make the whole thing work. And that can work for a lot of situations. It actually is a really good way to think about, particularly processes that are very repetitive, or situations where the outcomes are quite predictable and defined, and you can expect 10 different outcomes, and things are well defined. But the problem comes is when you try and use that metaphor for absolutely everything in the organization, because it doesn't fit with other things. So another metaphor is like it's a community. So there are lots of people in an organization, and really what makes an organization is the people inside it. It's not the nuts and bolts, it's not the buildings, it's not the processes that we have in place, it's not all the fancy technology or drugs or anything like that. It's the people. And how the people work together is absolutely crucial for how an organization works. Therefore, you've got to think of it as a social system. It's not just robots going about their robotic work and one passing something on to another. It's a social interaction between each of us every day. And if you think of it like that, then you can actually influence the system based on your knowledge of how to interact with human beings. You can influence it and manipulate it by speaking to hearts and minds, by really lighting the fire under people's bellies and getting them to follow in a particular direction. And that is far from a machine at all. You have to really speak to the hearts and minds and emotions of people. That might be actually quite far from a scientific view. And I think that's probably where a lot of doctors in particular trip up when it comes to organizational development, because they think, because we think of everything in terms of science, and if we can just actually work out how it all works and get all the variables in the right place, it works, the machine type of view. But sometimes it's a social system, and there's just, the rules don't apply sometimes. So that's also a really good way to think of it, especially if you want to generate a social movement, or a real big change that you need to get everybody behind you. Think of it like a social system. But it still doesn't apply to every situation, and that's because the organization is complicated. And it's not just complicated being there are hundreds of different parts, but we can know them all. It's actually complex. And another analogy is it's a bit like a child or a teenager. And the thing is that you can never predict how a child is going to turn out later in life. And even if you had twins and you gave them both exactly the same upbringing and they're genetically identical, they're going to end up doing different things in life, and maybe even have different preferences. They will be very similar, but there's still some differences about it. And that's because they are complex systems. We can't predict where they're going to go. We can't even determine what their future is going to be. All we can do is we can shape the environment around them so that they go in the right direction. We can make sure that the education is good. We can make sure that they have food and sheltered and love and all care and attention and stuff like that. All these things for them to develop and grow and go in the direction that we want them to be in. But we can't specify exactly what it's going to be. And that's the same for an organization. If you want an organization to be successful, sometimes you can't stand at the top and say, you must do X, Y, and Z. Sometimes you need to actually say, okay, what are the things you need? What are the things that you need to support you and do the right thing for us? And then let's see where we get in the end. And the technical term for this is a complex adaptive system. You cannot know every single part or variable in the system. Is too much. And there's also chaos and random theory in there as well. That means that you're never going to predict the outcome. So you just need to be able to shape everything around the organization. So those were my 3 metaphors. And I hope that kind of helps you understand a little bit about systems and how we might influence our systems. And that's what change is about, really. So it's now 10 to 1. I did want to finish a bit earlier. We got time for some questions or anything else that you want to raise. But if not, then I wish you a great weekend, and hope you have a good lunch break if you haven't had it already. Make sure you make some time for yourself.
James, I'll just put a quick plug in for our team, the quality and performance improvement team. So sure. Yeah, basically, if there's anything that inspires you through this course that comes up and you've got a bit of a project or just an idea that you want to bounce around, our team is out there to help. You should be able to find a link, I believe, through the SharePoint to a request for assistance form as well from our team, or you can just flick me an email, give me a call, either way. And yeah, there's a team of us working in quality improvement that are here to help you with whatever you want to do in this space. So yeah, don't hesitate to give us a bell.
Brilliant, thanks, Tui. And you'll also find some resources on the Improvement Academy website, and maybe I'll pop a link into I think there is actually a link into your site already for that, but I'll make sure it's obvious. Great. Any other queries from people, or put something on the chat? I'll just stay on until everybody's left. So, but don't feel that you need to be polite and stay on to the bitter end. You can head off now if you want to.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Okay. Bye-bye.
I'll give you the dates anyway. So 2nd and the 5th.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.